Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Healthy Living, Happy Life podcast. I'm Denise Stegall. I am the Menopause Mentor and your host for today's episode. What I do is I help women navigate menopause, no sweat. And today I want to offer you a new way to think about this phase of life, okay? If it feels like someone has changed the rule book on you, for example, foods that you used to eat and feel fine afterwards now irritate your stomach. Your sleep is suddenly elusive. Your energy ebbs and flows. Your mood, let's just say, it's been a roller coaster ride, right? Maybe you're eating the same salad for lunch that you had for years, but now by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you feel bloated. Or you're doing the same workout routine you have for the last 10 years that you like, but instead of feeling energized, you are wiped out. And here's an important thing to understand. You are not alone. You are not the only woman in midlife who is experiencing this, right? What's happening? Your body is asking for something different than what used to work before. Essentially, your body is evolving. And that's why I created the Midlife Metabolic Flip, which is an 8-week evidence-informed coaching program that helps you to understand actually what's going on inside and allows you to build a way of living that fits where you are now, right? A healthy lifestyle that works for you. Before I talk a bit more about the program, let's talk about why this time in life is confusing. We got some really bad advice when we were growing up. Right? We were told if we wanted to lose weight, you have to eat less, you have to move more, push, push, push. This kind of information or advice was not designed for women in their 40s and 50s or beyond. This actually worked if you were a 25-year-old man. Now, women are not small men. We are a completely different species, basically, with the way our hormones and our bodies work. Our estrogen and progesterone are shifting in perimenopause and menopause. We know that. Our metabolism, our sleep, recovery is going to change, okay? It's not just of if it will, it's basically a matter of when it will. So what happens in midlife during menopause, your body starts prioritizing balance and protection over that push, push, push that we used to be able to do. That's why it makes it so much harder. So obviously the strategies that used to work are going to be less effective. Our stress levels also are going to increase, which is going to leave you feeling exhausted. And this is where a lot of women kind of get stuck. They think, what am I doing wrong? Right? You're not doing anything wrong. What's happened is the playbook has changed. No one handed you a new one, but it's time to learn what that new one entails. And I see this all the time in my coaching practice. Women come to me, they've started a new diet or a new exercise program, and they're doing everything right, yet nothing feels right, right? Their energy is in the tank. They're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. They feel puffy and bloated, not just in their stomach, but when they look in the mirror, their face is even puffy, right? And of course, when this is going on, our motivation dips. And so this isn't really a motivation problem or willpower problem. This is your physiology is shifting, okay? And this is where we need awareness, not frustration. You need to be aware of what your body is doing, how you're feeling, right? So this is time to pay attention. So let's break down what is happening and why this stage in life is not doom and gloom. Because once you understand the science, it's very empowering. So at the center of all of this is your metabolic system, right? This is the processes that turn food into energy, helps regulate hormones, manage inflammation, and support recovery. When we were younger, our system worked fast, it was flexible, and it was pretty forgiving, right? You could skip meals, you could eat a whole pizza by yourself, stay up late, stress hard, and your body just kept going. It just kept up with you, right? In midlife now, the balance between your stress hormones, not a good word. It's not a balance. It's the relationship between your stress hormones, your sex hormones, and your energy hormones shift. Your body prioritizes preservation at this stage. And so that means that your reaction to stress is going to change, and that will alter the patterns that cortisol plays. It's going to play a larger role in the way you feel. Cortisol is our stress hormone, right? If we're stressed, if we're not responding to stress in the same way we used to, we're actually increasing our stress load. Cortisol is increasing because that's our stress hormone, right? And so that's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect how you feel. Like, well, you kind of feel like you're wired all the time, right? Another thing, and this is really important, that most people do not talk about is inflammation. Low-grade inflammation becomes more common as we age. Why? Estrogen is a protector against inflammation. And as estrogen is declining as we're going through menopause, so does that protection that we have. So now this is going to affect, again, our sleep, and it's going to affect our stress levels. Sleep then becomes more fragmented. So we have to pay more attention to our circadian rhythm and the recovery sleep. And when it's fragmented, we can get really, really frustrated. So we have to figure out ways to help you sleep, right? And it could be nutrition, it could be your exercise, it could be a number of things. And again, your body's not malfunctioning, it's refocusing. Okay. And once you understand that, like truly understand that, you can stop fighting and start partnering, right? Work with your body as opposed to against it. And that's the shift that I help women make in the midlife metabolic flip, or the flip as I like to call it for short. A couple of things that I hear every week, whether it's a client or I see this on social media, there are three huge myths that midlife women get stuck in their head. And that really keeps them stuck in frustration, in weight gain, and really feeling that, midlife is such a bad thing, which it isn't, okay? This is a evolution, right? So the number one myth, my metabolism is just slowing down now. Think of it this way. Your body adapts to your hormones, your sleep, your stress, and how you fuel, AKA the foods that you're eating. Your body's not giving up, it's adapting, which means what you eat, how you train, how you recover matters more. For example, I remember I used to be able to weight train 3-4 times a week. In midlife, I can't do that. I need more recovery time. Why? Because I know if I don't give myself that recovery time, I'm going to have an injury. And injury is the last thing we want to deal with, because now on top of dealing with menopause, then you have something else that is stressing you out, which is increasing your cortisol, which is making you not be able to sleep. So you get into another kind of crazy cycle. Myth number two, I need to eat less and work out more. I mentioned this a few minutes ago. However, chronic low intake of food, right? That's dieting, which we do not do in the flip, and high stress training, lots and lots of cardio, will backfire, raising your stress hormones. There's that cortisol again, disrupting your sleep and undermining your recovery. You're seeing a pattern here? Okay, good. Myth number three, this is just part of getting older. Yes, of course, age plays a role. We're not getting any younger. But this disconnection actually amplifies the challenges, right? When you reconnect habits with your hormones, your sleep, your energy patterns, everything starts to make sense and everything starts to flow again. Reconnection is where healing actually begins, right? And the flip guides you through this structured process to reconnect those systems so you can feel like yourself again, maybe even better. So let me walk through a little bit of the flip in detail. I'm not going to go week by week, but let's just some of the key points, right? Again, this is evidence-informed coaching, right? I have 17 years of experience in menopause. I have read the books, I've read the papers, I've tried all the products and supplements and gone to the doctors. I've done it all. Okay, so I know what works and what doesn't work, right? I see this pattern in my practice and on social media, right? The frustration, the fatigue, the disconnection to ourselves and to others. So I built a program that's educational, but also experiential, right? It's not just information. You can get that on the internet, right? It's about transformation through action, reflection, and support, right? This isn't a program where you just read the information or watch the video and, be on your way. No, this is a program where I encourage questions and conversation with other members of the group, because I think this is where we grow and really get a deep, deep understanding of what's happening and what can happen when we pay attention and we understand what's going on in our body. Each week does build on the last. Now I say this is an 8-week or 8-module program, right? Because I don't want to limit my clients to just 8 weeks. Like, you have to have it done in 8 weeks. No, that's ridiculous. Some people, yes, will get through in 8 weeks and be like, all right, now what's the next step, Denise? Which of course there's always a next step. There's a connection. But other people, it may take some women a couple of weeks to grab a concept and to really make it work for them. So this is 8 modules, again, science supported, that shifts to calm our inflammation, support our hormones, improve our sleep, reignite our energy, our vitality, and even our libido. So we start with awareness, and there is an assessment that I have you take that will figure out, what you're doing with your sleep and your nutrition and mindset, all of those pieces, right? And then we identify your big energy drains. And with that, we can find ways to gently reset in a way that feels doable rather than daunting, right? We're going to focus on, or at least address, inflammation, right? This is part of the foundation, right? Once we can decrease our inflammation just by the things that we can do every single day, nutrition, our nutrition, water, movement, all of those things will help to decrease inflammation. Again, estrogen is declining, so our inflammation is increasing for that reason, because we don't have that extra protection anymore. So we need to work a little bit harder to make sure that we keep that inflammation under control. As I mentioned, daily food, sleep, all of those things are part of calming the inflammation. Now, we do not do diets here in the Flip. I do particularly love the Mediterranean style diet. Colorful plants and veggies and fruit, quality protein, fiber, healthy fats, lots of good hydration, and realistic stress downshifts. We will work on our hormones, like try to get our hormones in harmony. Again, it's never about balancing them, because they're never going to be equal. There's too many of them, and how would we know it was equal anyway? But we want them to work in harmony with each other. So we're going to explore estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, and insulin. Those are the 5 hormones we're really going to focus on in this program. You'll learn to spot common imbalances, right? And how to respond to them nutritionally, behaviorally. For example, why protein is important in our lives today, in our Flip, right? Protein is going to, one, keep us full longer. It's going to help us build muscle and bone, and is going to help us with keep our insulin resistance low. So the good thing about this is, once we start to understand how our hormones are working, how inflammation is working, you can say to yourself, okay, as you're going through this, okay, this is not me that's causing this. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's my chemistry, and I can support it. So once we know what is going on, we learn tips and strategies to support it. Obviously, we're going to talk about sleep. I've talked about sleep a few times. Sleep is where we heal, right? So we'll figure out what your sleep rhythm is. Are you a 7-hour person, or are you a 9-hour person, right? So we want to make sure that we're getting light in the morning. We're going to be winding down at night, and build a simple evening routine or ritual that sticks because it's something you created. Obviously, we're going to talk about movement, appropriate movement, right? Get rid of the no pain, no gain myth, right? And we don't have that here, none of that. And we'll find movement that supports us, not stresses us and our metabolism, right? We're going to do strength training a couple of days a week, some low to moderate cardio. Maybe it's a recovery walk out in nature. I love that. We're going to do some mobility, stretching exercises, those things, some yoga. And whatever that intensity is for you, depending on where you are in your cycle. In perimenopause, sometimes we have to do less, not more, right? As we go through menopause, that will change also. It's always changing, we're always evolving, right? And so understanding that today will help you to move forward when you're 50, 55, 60, and beyond, and beyond. We are going to talk about HRT and smart supplementation, right? This is education and empowerment. We cover what hormone therapy is and isn't, who it helps, how it helps, and how to talk to your clinician, which I think is really, really important. So often we go to our doctor, we want to know about HRT, and they go, and they don't really know the answers. So we do know that HRT is very effective for treating hot flashes, night sweats, helps to prevent bone loss, and is cardioprotective, right? But not everyone is a good candidate. So those decisions are individualized, but also need to be discussed with your doctor. However, if you go to your doctor with the education and the right questions, you'll be able to make better decisions with your doctor than if not. We're also going to talk about targeted supplements, right? There are a million supplements on the market, and a lot of them are just garbage, right? Evidence varies, some of them are maybe some of them are definitely third-party tested and, pharmaceutical grade and are really true, tried and true. I use a protocol that one of the physicians, she's an OBGYN functional medicine doctor who I have followed for many years. It's a protocol that she uses with her patients. So I'm very happy that I have access to that. And I can offer that to my clients, right? Again, targeted, and we use them strategically, right? There's a protocol, but you may not need all of the supplements. There's not a lot of them. So, several of the supplements in the protocol, may need one, maybe two, right? But that's, again, individual, and we'll talk about that within the program. And then we're going to talk about where physical energy meets emotional reconnection, I will say, right? We're going to address stress and rediscovering intimacy, pleasure, alignment, personal alignment, and our sex drive. I just said that. Because when your habits match your hormones and recovery, your hormones and your recovery, then that's when your vitality, aka libido, returns, right? Vitality returns when you reconnect to yourself, your body, and your body's needs. And then finally, we tie it all together, a nice pretty bow, right? We're going to reflect, we're going to celebrate, and you'll have a personalized plan that works for you, right? A couple of simple guidelines that keep you going. It's never about perfection, always about progress and consistency. So throughout the program, you do get coaching, community, accountability, weekly sessions where you can do check-ins, ask questions. Like, there are resources and all sorts of things in the program that, I can go on and on and on and on and on. But the fun thing is I have watched women go through this program and come in overwhelmed and leave hopeful, energized, but more importantly, in control. And that's what happens when structure meets self-care and science meets compassion. So just real quick, a couple of transformations, real life transformations. One of my clients, she was 52. She came to me, she says, Denise, I've tried everything. She was exhausted, waking at 3 a.m. every night. By week 4, she said to me, for the first time in years, I'm waking up and I'm not exhausted. Another client was 47, so she's in her 40s. She said to me, when she came, I asked her, I said, what's your goal for this? She's like, I want my spark back. I just feel invisible and disconnected from who I am and who I used to be. I used to be fun and vibrant. After the program, she said to me, I didn't just get myself back. I met my new self. And that's, my friends, what I want for you. And then finally, Joan, who was 57, she says to me, you know what? It's never too late to change. It's not over. It's just getting interesting. That, my friends, is the attitude I would love for you to leave with. It's just getting interesting. Keep in mind, individual experiences, results vary, blah, 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 right? But I think another piece is that mindset really matters here, right? When you see midlife as an evolution, then and not a decline, everything opens, right? So we talk so much more about partnering with our body instead of fighting it. So the flip is not a diet. I think I mentioned that. It's not a detox. It is a data-guided, heart-centered reset from where you are now. And if you have been feeling stuck or disconnected, dealing with hot flashes or mood swings or all of the things, I invite you to participate in the Midlife Metabolic Flip. We're here to learn. We're here to laugh. You'll be supported by women who get it. And you'll leave with your own plan, right? That roadmap that will carry you through the rest of your life. Let me just mention, though, it will also need tweaking through the years, right? Just because we know where we are today doesn't mean we're going to be in the same place in 5 years or 10 years. But with the plan, you'll understand what you have to tweak and how. So again, I am so excited about this that I wanted to share. I know this podcast is a little bit different. It's a little bit self-promoting. I apologize for that, but I think it's really, really important for you to understand that listening to a podcast is one thing, taking in the education and the information is one thing, but what's absolutely essential for you is to take that next step, grab the information and do something with it. So when you do, and you join the flip, you create something beautiful. You're going to feel good. You're going to live good from now and down the road. So if this resonates with you, please, 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 I welcome you to the Midlife Metabolic Flip. There is a link in the show notes for you to read a little bit more about the program and to register because you deserve to feel whole again, right? Let me think. If this is something, again, that resonates with you, that's fabulous. If so, also share with your friends and your sisters. I would love to chat with them, chat with you. Until next time, though, I leave you with this thought, reminding you that midlife is not your limitation. It is your liberation. Finally, final note, healthy living, happy midlife, everyone. I'm Denise Stegall, the Menopause Mentor. I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Healthy Living, Happy Midlife. My hope is that today's conversation left you inspired, encouraged, and ready to take the next step toward creating a vibrant, fulfilling life that you deserve. Remember, you don't have to settle for fatigue, brain fog, or frustration. Midlife is not the end of your story. It's the doorway to your next best chapter. And I'm here to help you walk through it with energy, with confidence, and with joy. So if you're ready to take this journey further, I invite you to schedule a free strategy call with me. The link is in the show notes. And together we'll design a plan that works for you at this time in your life, for your body. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review your show, the show on your favorite podcast platform. Catch the video version on YouTube so you never miss another episode. Share it with a friend who needs to hear that midlife can truly be the most powerful season of her life. Until next time, I'm Denise Stegall, reminding you that healthy living, happy midlife is just possible. It's yours for the taking.